In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a left front axle on your Honda Pilot. Let's get started. Using a 19mm socket, remove the 5 lug nuts. Remove the wheel. There's going to be 2 different ways to do this axle. One is going to be to pull the bottom control arm out. The other is going to be to pull these 2 bolts out of the knuckle and then pull the knuckle forward. If you decide to take these 2 bolts out instead of the lower control arm, be sure to take out all of the bolts for the lines, like your brake line and your ABS wire. When you pull the knuckle forward, you can put a lot of tension on these hoses and they could break. You'll want to avoid that. The method we're doing, we won't need to worry about these hoses up top. Remove the cotter pin out of the ball joint. Using a 19mm wrench, loosen the ball joint nut. Remove the ball joint nut. Separate the ball joint from the knuckle. I'm going to be using a ball joint removal tool. Separate the ball joint. Using a 36mm socket, remove the axle nut. Hit it with a soft face hammer. Make sure it moves freely inside of the hub. If you don't have a soft face hammer, use a punch in the middle of the shaft. Using a pry bar with a hook, and we're going to hook the hook around the lower control arm. We're going to pry down, pulling the lower ball joint out of the knuckle. As we're pulling down, we're going to swing our knuckle forward. As we swing our knuckle forward, we're going to push our axle in, so the boot where the axle does not come separated inside of the boot. Before popping the axle out of the transmission, be sure to have a drain bucket under you. There's a possibility that it will leak fluid. Using a pry bar, I'm going to go up under the lip of the axle, pop the axle, pull the hub side of the axle out, then we're going to pull it out and remove it from the vehicle. Grab the new axle and remove the axle nut. Install the axle into the transmission. I'm going to twist and turn until I feel the splines match up. I'm going to give it one push in. If it doesn't click in, I'm going to use a soft face mallet and hit the end of the axle until I feel it pop in. Just like that. We're going to install the hub side into the hub, get it lined up. Get the ball joint seated in the knuckle. Install the castle nut onto the ball joint. Using a wrench, torque the ball joint nut to 51 foot-pounds. And then up to an additional 60 degrees or until a slot in the castle nut lines up with a hole in the ball joint to put your cotter pin through. Install the cotter pin and bend it around, and you can cut off the ends if you'd like. Install the axle nut, snug it down. Torque the axle nut to 210 foot-pounds while holding the studs with a large pry bar. Using a hammer and a punch, we're going to stake the axle nut. Install the wheel, get the 5 lug nuts started. Snug them down. Torque your wheels to 80 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Once you're done with this job, take your car to a local shop and have them do an alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.